Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying a wonderful weekend, and I hope you're staying as warm as possible. On the East Coast, it is freezing out. And for those that are racing, I hope you race well this weekend. There was some big ones over this weekend at Washington, Boston University, and today is the Millrose Games at the Armory. For anybody who wants to watch it, it's 4 to 6 p.m. on NBC. So if you have the access to NBC, you can check it out. Okay. So I encourage you. There's gonna be more world record attempts. There's already been some world record races recently. John Shoei broke the world record last weekend in the 800 meters. And it was Hobbs Kessler broke the world record in the 2K. So our middle distance runners are already stepping up and running some big time stuff. Kudos to all of them. And good morning. Oh, I've been doing well, Leo. Oh, how are you, man? Today again, we're going to talk about. We had a couple of requests last week when we were live. How do we get ready to roll for middle distance and distance, as well as 400 and 800 meter runners? Okay, two different groups. I'm going to give you essentially a 10-week layout of workouts that I kind of incorporate. Obviously, you can modify it as you see fit, but this is generally what I like to do to get my athletes ready to run fast, especially if there's a stretch where they're not really racing right now. This is a really good opportunity. But at the same point, we check in every so often with a time trial, see how they're progressing. Okay. By the way, coaches and athletes, if it's your first time here, welcome. I go live every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, and just make sure you do two things. Okay. Hit that like button if you enjoy the content. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. And if you do subscribe, just turn on your notifications. That way, when I do go live, you'll know ahead of time what it's going to be about. You can ask any question you like. And while we're live, you can ask any questions live time, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. I want to make sure we have a thorough understanding of what's being put out here. Okay. As always, a good warm-up, drills and strides. We know this already. Okay. Now, I'm going to put this out. This is weeks 1 through 5. I have a bunch of slides. Okay. Middle distance and distance. You see the slash. So on the left side is the middle distance type workout. On the right side is the distance type workout. Okay. And you can see before, we work towards 20 minutes tempo for middle distance, 25 minutes for distance. If you're college, you can bump it up to 30, or really it's up to you as a coach or an athlete to decide what you feel is most appropriate. But this is the workout. And let's just say Tuesday. Okay. Let's say we do Tuesday, Friday workouts. I can only fit the Tuesday workouts here. So I'm going to give you some complementary workouts that you can incorporate on Friday in a few minutes. As you can see here, Tuesday workout for middle distance is 2 times 8 minutes at tempo pace, at a prescribed pace. And we usually I'll take this off really quickly. Okay. We look at what your current mile fitness is. And I even test folks. Okay. Where is their BF for the mile? This makes it easier for us to set training paces, tempos, thresholds, and everything else. That way you're training at the right zones based on your current fitness. And it makes it easier to progress moving forward. It also makes it easier to separate into training groups if you need to do that. That way people aren't hanging on for dear life to run with some people who are running comfortably, and so on. Running at the right paces for folks is very, very important. Okay. So back to it. Okay. The middle distance group, 2 times 8 minute tempo with a 2-minute recovery. The distance group, 2 times 10-minute tempo with a 2-minute recovery. Okay. It adds up to what? 16 minutes for middle distance and 20 minutes for distance, right? Broken up into pieces though, instead of having to do it consecutively right now. And again, how do you find the pace? If let's just say the goal is to run 6 minutes per mile, right? We do a couple of transitional 200s in the beginning. I talk about this a lot. Transitional 200s. So you do 2 to 3 times a 200. And if you're looking to run 6 minutes for the tempo, you're running them at 44 to 45 with a 200-meter jog recovery. That allows you to find the pace before the workout starts. That way you're not having to look for it in the workout. If you're looking to run, let's say 520, you're going to run them at 39:40, and so on and so forth. Okay. Find the pace before these long tempos start. That's week 1. Now we bump it up to week 2. And again, folks, for those that are just here, this is the midweek workout for mid-distance and distance. All I could fit on the slide, but I will get to this, the Friday workouts in a little bit. Week 2, the middle distance group does hill repeats. Let's just say 200 meters. And let's say you're building towards 6 to 8 of them or whatever it might be. Easy jog down recovery, focusing on good form, knee lift, and you get progressively faster along the way. Okay. The distance runners are doing 300-meter hill repeats. Okay, same thing, jog down recovery. The transitional piece here, if you want to do this, let's just say you run a mile at tempo pace or 800-meter rep at tempo pace to help you elevate the heart rate to transition into the more aggressive stuff with the hills. It just gives you a little bit of a VO2 max hit before the workout starts. Okay. And think about doing that. If you do that for a whole entire season, multiple seasons, all the accumulative extra VO2 max hits of fitness is going to come in handy when you need it the most. Okay. So that's week 2. Week 3. Okay. Now we go back to combining the tempo. So the 2 times 8 minutes in week 1 becomes 16 minutes in week 3 for the middle distance runners. The 2 times 10 minutes becomes 20 minutes consecutively for distance runners in week 3. Okay. So we progressed step by step to get to the goal distance of the tempo run. And you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. That's week 3. You do your transitional 200s to help find the pace before the workout starts. Week 4, we go from tempo to threshold. Okay, so now we're doing 800-meter threshold reps with a 1-minute recovery. And a threshold pace is essentially 8 to 10 seconds faster per mile than the tempo pace. So if tempo pace is 6 minutes per mile, threshold reps about 550 per mile. Okay, if tempo is at 520, threshold reps about 510. Excuse me. Okay, so now 800-meter reps. Let's just say you're trying to get to the same amount as the tempo is. So let's say you're at 5 to 6 times an 800. Okay, time about the same. So 5 to 6 times an 800 for middle distance, 1-minute recovery at threshold pace. 5 to 6 times 1K for the distance runners, which essentially will become close to matching what the 20-minute tempo is. Okay, in terms of time wise, with a 1-minute recovery. Okay, and that's the workout there. Week 4. Remember, midweek workout. Week 5, then we test the fitness. For the middle distance runners, we'll try to do a time trial at 1,200 meters. See where the fitness is at and see if it's progressed since we tested them in the mile 5 weeks ago. Okay, let's see if they're kind of moving in the right direction. And this is for folks that generally run the 800 in the mile and so on, right? For the distance runners, the time trial 2K. For the folks that run the mile 3K, okay, mile 2 mile, we test them out at 2K and see where they're at. Okay, this tells us whether you're aerobically moving in the right direction and what type of changes, if any, we might need to make in the training. Okay, this is the first 5 weeks of the first workout of the week for middle distance and distance. And you let me know if you have any questions along the way. Ask them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Okay, let's go to week 6 through 10. Okay, now the progression again. Middle distance. Now it's 2 times 10 minutes at tempo. Take the same 2-minute recovery. Distance, 2 times 12.5 minutes at tempo. 2-minute recovery, right? Steps to get to the goal distance of the tempo. This way you don't have to come right out the gate and try to run 20 minutes consecutively or 25 minutes consecutively. Because if you're not ready, you fall apart. It becomes counterproductive to the workout itself. So let's set you up for success from the beginning. Okay, that's why we do it this way. So again, week 6, 2 times 10 minutes for middle distance, 2 times 12:30 for distance. At the same goal paces, you only modify the paces if fitness dictates or race or time trial dictates you're ready to change the paces of the workouts themselves. Okay, we have a question really quickly. Ethan, how are you, my man? 13. I have recently been finding your videos and information on enjoyable workout recently. And welcome, Ethan. And it was 3 times a K at 307. Then 2 times 500. 131, and average, and a 471. If I had to take a while, I mean, I'd be looking to run clearly. I mean, have you gotten under 16 minutes yet, Ethan? 3 times 1K, 307 average. How much recovery are you taking? Is the other question. The recovery you take in this workout, in a workout like this, will help give us an idea of where your fitness is. This is a good question. And it's how you progress from this. Then you can go from 3 times 1K. Then the next time you do the workout, you do 4 of them. And then you progress towards 5 times 1Ks. That'll give you a better idea of where your 5K shape is. And if you can get to the point where you're doing 2-minute recovery, okay, work your way from 3 minutes down to 2 minutes, then that'll give you your PB is 16:45 from a month ago. The rest were around 90 seconds to 1. Okay. What's faster? I think it's faster than 16:45, Ethan. I'd be looking towards closer to 16 minutes with a workout like that. But what I would try to do is try to add, like I said, go from 3 times 1K at 307 to 4 times 1K at 307, and then going from 4 times 1K to 5 times 1K at 307. Okay, gradually over time. And if you want to, you can even do you do your 3 times 1K instead of 2 by 500, do 3 by 500 or 4 by 500. Okay, add a couple of 500s to the two. So let's just say you do two of them, then you can go to 4 times 1K. You can progress the volume in the workout along the way to make it easier to track, right? But the idea is if you can get to yourself to 5 times 1K at 307 average with a 2-minute recovery, you will be ready to run under 16 minutes. Hopefully you found that helpful. Let me know if it makes sense too, Ethan. Multi-Canny, there he is. Which when looking at determining pace groups, how spread out should each group be in terms of time? For example, should kids who run 5:30 be paired with the 5-minute groups? I would not pair the 5:30s with the 5 minutes. And the reason why I wouldn't do it is because if you give them all the same workouts, the recovery component is going to be different for everybody because the starting point and ending point is going to be different, right? Let's just say you do 1,000-meter repeats, but you want to start everybody at the same time. The people who run faster are going to have more recovery than the people who run slower, right? So I would break it up. I would keep the 5:30, like 5:20 to 5:30 groups in one group, then the 4:50 to 5-minute group people in another group, and so on. But I'd break it by about 20 to 30 seconds per mile. That way, because it ensures people are recovering appropriately at the same time. If you're giving them all the same workout, and it also allows you to track the groups easier, right? If you write down their times and so on and so forth, then you can start this group and then 100 meters later start the next group. That way it's easier to write things down without having to get everybody all tangled up. Let me know if that makes sense, Multi-Kenny. That's how I would spread it out. You're welcome, Ethan. So let's get right back to it, okay? So week 6 is the tempo progression, right? Week 7, we go back to the hill repeats. And now we bump up the middle distance groups to 300 meters on the hills. Let's just say you do the same amount of reps as you did the 200. Like you say, if you did 6 times 200, now we try to do 6 times 300 if we can. Okay, that's the progression here, adding volume. Okay, and the hill doesn't need to be super steep either. If the hill is this long, gradual is better than super steep. If you're going to run a super steep hill, it shouldn't be any more than 40 to 50 meters. That's a different type of hill attack. Okay. Then your distance runners progress from 300 meters uphills to 400-meter uphill. And the same concept here. Work on good form, high knee lift, pumping your arms, okay, gradually getting faster as you can. But you want to try to keep the same cadence as you do on the flats. So your running rhythm on the flat should be the same running rhythm on the uphill. Okay. Even though it might be slower on the uphill than it is on the flat, that's okay. Maintaining rhythm or similar rhythm is what's going to keep you in sync. It's what's going to make it easier to get over the hill and recover once you get up at the top of the hill and keep going. Okay. Rhythm is important. Let me know again if you have questions along the way, put them in the comments. You folks are asking good questions as always. Then we progress week 8 to a 20-minute consecutive tempo for middle distance runners, and a 25-minute consecutive tempo for distance runners. Okay. This is the 4th piece, right? So this is 4 tempo workouts to get to the goal distance. Okay, breaking it up into pieces. This way, it's most of the time it's better. I found it to be much more productive this way. There's less interruption in the training when you break up the tempos like this. As long as you're doing the right paces, it's easier to add volume on the back end to these tempos. It's easier to combine the volume together if you're doing it at the right pace. Okay, that's week 8. Week 9. Now we bumped the 800-meter reps up to 1K reps for the middle distance runners. So if you did 5 to 6 times an 800 middle distance runners, I'd be doing no more than 5 times 1K here for the threshold reps. And essentially, the pace remains the same unless the time trial dictates you're ready to change. But it's still 8 to 10 seconds faster per mile than tempo pace. Okay. Then we progress the 1K reps for distance runners to 1,200 meters. You're adding 200 meters at threshold pace. Okay. Adding volume. You're spending more time in the threshold zone, which is a strict VO2 max development. That's one sign of progression, adding volume at goal pace. Okay. This is a good progression on how to do this. That's week 9. And week 10, we're going to go back. We'll time trial it again. Now we bump it up for middle distance runners from a 1,200-meter time trial to 1,500 meters. And distance runners, a time trial from 2K to 3K. And you'll see, you'll get a good idea as an athlete and a coach how you're progressing along the way. Okay, and again, remember, these are just the midweek workouts for middle distance and distance, weeks 1 through 10. Okay, if you have questions along the way, folks, just ask them. Okay, more than happy to answer. I want to make sure you understand what's going on. Now, let's do the complementary workouts. So if you have time to do a workout on a Friday and your middle distance and distance group, we're going to stay there right now. Here's some workouts that you can incorporate. Okay, the second session of the week. It's up to you to decide where you want to do this. So some of the workouts, 6 to 8 times a 400 with a 2-minute recovery. Okay, you progress here from mile pace. You try to get down to 800-meter pace if you can, or close to it. Okay, this is a really good workout. The volume doesn't always need to be long in these workouts. Okay, another workout is, and this is a good distance one, 2 sets of 1,200, 800, 400. Okay, the 1,200s at 5K pace, you take a 3-minute recovery. Then 800s at 3K pace, take a 2-minute recovery. Then the 400s at mile pace. Okay, and then after the 400, you can take a 5 to 6-minute recovery, or actually a rest 4 here. If you need to go more, you go more. Okay, and then you repeat the set again. Add up the volume. It's 3 miles worth of volume for the workout. Okay, broken into 2 sets. You can also do, this is a good middle distance workout as well, even a distance run too. 2 sets of 8 by 200 at goal mile pace. Right, so it allows you to get 2 miles worth of volume at goal mile pace, broken up in the sets. Take 45 seconds recovery after each rep, and then 5 minutes in between the set. So if you're looking to break 5 minutes, you run these in 36, 37. You're looking around 440, you run these in 34, 35, and so on. Looking around 420, you run these in, try to run these in 32, and 31, 32, I should say. Okay, short rhythm reps. Like I said, not every rep needs to be long. Not every workout needs to be long. Okay, this allows you to kind of run systematically and add volume and add training and it also allows you to train at multiple paces. That's why the 2 sets of 12, 8, 4, it's 5K pace, 3K pace, mile pace. The more versatile you are, right? And milers, 2 milers also step up to 5K in cross country. Some of them run 5K outdoors. So this allows you to go back to what got you very fit during cross country season. Okay, and continue to sustain that fitness throughout the indoor season into the outdoor season. Okay, this is complementary workouts. I'm going to give you a second slide of complementary workouts. Let me know if you have questions along the way. Don't hesitate to ask. Now, let's get to the second set. Complementary workouts continue. There's another one. 800, 600, 500, 400, 300 with a 3-minute recovery. You can progress from 3K pace down to 800-meter pace if you'd like. Okay? 3-minute recovery after each rep. This is a good workout. A good workout to do. Let's just say you're not racing that week, but you're racing the following week. It's a good workout to do the week before. That's one, and it's a good middle distance workout. Here's a distance one too. 2K, 1,600, 1,200, 800, 400. 16, 12, 8, 4, it's called the Michigan. There's a lot of different variations to it. I'm just adding a 2K rep. I like to call it the Great Lakes. A little bit bigger than the Michigan, right? A good hit, you do the 2K, let's just say a 5K pace. 5-minute recovery. 1,600-meter rep at 5K pace, 4-minute recovery. 1,200 at 3K pace, 3-minute recovery. 800 at 3K pace to mile pace. 2-minute recovery. 400 at mile to 800-meter pace. And there it goes. You get progressively faster throughout the workout. Okay? It's another one. Another one after that is an 800, then 2 times 400, and an 800. Okay? Broken up into pieces. Okay, so 800 is at 3K pace, 230 recovery. And you do 2 times 400 at mile pace. Okay? 130 recovery, but you take 230 after the last one. Then you run an 800 at 3K pace again, 230 recovery, and then you do 4 times 200 at the end at 800-meter pace. Okay? Take 1-minute recovery. After each rep, you run 230 after the last one, then you run another 800 at 3K pace. If you look at it, it's 5 times an 800, the workout. But the second 800 is broken up into 2 times 400 at mile pace, and the fourth 800 is broken up into 4 times 200, 800-meter pace. Allows you to inject different paces without compromising the volume of the workout. Okay, this is a way of, again, getting yourself positioned to become more versatile. This is for milers who step up to the 2 mile, who also step down to the 4x8, run the 1,000, and so on and so forth. This is a good workout. Okay, called broken 800s. You can, you can mess around with the recoveries if you like, but I found these recoveries to be pretty effective. Okay, and the last one here is broken Ks. So it's 1K at 5K pace, 3-minute recovery. Then that second K, you do 2 times 500 at 3K pace, 2 minutes after each 500, and you go back to 3 minutes after the second rep. Then you do another 1K at 5K pace, 3-minute recovery. Then that fourth 1K is 5 times 200 at mile pace. 1 minute recovery after each one, 3 minutes after the last one. And then you run another 1K rep at 5K pace. Okay. This is what? 5 times a K at 5K pace, but broken up into pieces, where the second rep is at 3K pace and the fourth rep is at mile pace. These are for folks who step up to them, and who are milers who step up to the 3K, also run the 5K. Okay, or 3K, people who run a lot of 3K 2 mile, who step down to the mile, step up to the 5K. These are good workouts. And the more you're training at mile pace, 3K pace, and 5K pace for distance, and the more you're training at mile, the intermediate pace, and 3K pace for distance, the better off you're going to be. 3K pace and 5K pace is VO2 max specific, right? Tempos and thresholds is the initial VO2 max component. And then adding 3K pace and mile pace puts you at more race readiness, or adds more race readiness, I should say, than the initial hit. This is why when you're ready to do this, these are good complementary workouts to do on a Friday when you're not racing. But it's up to you to decide as a coach and an athlete where to plug them in, right? What you feel is, okay, my athletes need this, my athletes need that, and multi-Kenny too. This gives you options. Group A might need this, Group B might need that. Okay, if you have enough coaches to track workouts and take times, take splits, and so on and so forth, that way you're not having to run around with your head all over the place. This is a good way to do it. Okay, so there's essentially your 10 weeks of middle distance and distance. How you can kind of line up your training to get fit and ready to race fast, while again enhancing the VO2 max and adding some race readiness into the workouts. Okay, now let's go to the second group, 400, 800. Someone asked me last week about that. How do we progress the 400, 800 meter group? Also a good question. So I'm going to get right into the slides. Okay, now this also makes it easier because it's the same group. So you can do the first workout on here and the second workout. Okay, in the same slide. So there's going to be 2 slides, weeks 1 through 5 and weeks 6 through 10. So the first workout here on a Tuesday, let's just say you do a tempo, like 800 meters to 1K. Elevate the heart rate. Then you're going to go right into hills, 100-meter hills. So let's just say you do 6 times 800-meter hill, just arbitrarily. 6 times 100-meter hill. Attacking these hills, it's a little bit shorter now, so you can be a little bit more aggressive. The hill can be a slight amount steeper. Okay, that's the first workout on Tuesday. The second workout, you do a tempo again. Same 800 meters, 1K, whatever you feel is most appropriate. Take 4 to 5 minutes after the tempo rep before the workout starts. And then you go right into 2 sets of 3 times a 200. Okay, with a 2-minute recovery after each one and 4 minutes in between the set. Okay, you do 200 meters reps at 800 meter pace. So if you're looking to break 2 minutes, let's just arbitrarily, you try to run them in 29:30. That's also going to give you a lot of collective strength towards running a fast 400-meter workouts. And this is called speed endurance 200s, which we will work on. Again, I found this to be extremely helpful for the 400 meter group. Get a lot of folks, running sub 50 and sub 2 minutes on this workout alone. Okay, so this is a good workout. And again, we progress along the way, right? So that's week 1. Then you progress towards week 2, which is tempo. Same tempo type rep, and then you do some flat 150s. Let's just say you're doing 5 times 150 on the flat, on the track instead of hills. You're alternating hills and flat running. Okay, so there's that. And then workout 2, same tempo, 4 to 5 minute recovery. Then now you can do 2 sets of 2 by 400. at 800-meter pace. So you're doing a little bit longer rep at 800-meter pace now. This is a little bit more increment specific. Take 3 minutes after the rep, 6 minutes in between a set. So the volume is 4 times 400 total. Just like above, the volume is 6 times 200 total. The workouts don't always need to be super long. Being applicable is key. Adding the tempo rep gives you a VO2 max and aerobic development component to the workout, which will enhance the workout itself, right? So that's week 2. Then week 3, speed endurance 200s. Okay. For the 400-meter applicable, you do. For the folks who run more 400s, who on occasion step up to 800, you do 2 minutes recovery after each rep. Okay, and you can even do like 2 sets of 3 reps. So the 6 200s you did above, now you can do 6 consecutive. For the 800-meter folks who step down to the 4x4, you can do that same speed endurance 200 with a 90-second recovery. Okay, so for those that run the 400 more and step up, 2-minute recovery. For those who run 800-meter more and step down, 90-second recovery. Okay. So the recovery component's a little bit different. It makes it a little bit of a different hit itself, or emphasis on the workout itself. Okay. And then week 4, we do a time trial. We test folks. Our 400-meter runners, we test them at 250, 250 meters. And let's see where you're at. Okay. The 800-meter runners, we test at 500 meters. So again, if you're looking, if the goal is to break 2 minutes, okay, can you run the 500 in 114 to 115 at this point, right? If the goal is to break, let's just say 60, can you come through 250 and 60 pace? If you're looking to break 50, can you go through 250 at 50 pace? Looking to break 55, can you do 250 at 55 pace? That's the key. Where are you at your goal 400-meter pace, 250 meters in? Are you at your goal 800-meter pace at 500 meters in? And I'm talking about starting your season. Where do you want to start initially your first 800-meter race? Okay, not end the season, start. Okay, that's week 4. And then week 5. Okay, after we've tested ourselves, and then we do, for the 400-meter group, threshold 400s with a 1-minute recovery. Okay, this is just a little bit of a flush out workout. Flush out the time trial in the legs. Let me just get this off the screen here so you can see the bottom. Here we go. Threshold 400 to the 400-meter group. Let's just say you do 6 or 8 of them. Threshold pace slows you down, flushes out the legs. Just add fitness. Okay, the 800-meter group, 600, 500, 400, 300, 200, 100. Okay, 5 minutes after the 6, 4 minutes after the 5, 3 minutes after the 4, 2 minutes after the 3, 1 minute after the 2, and then you run 100. Okay, you progress. Let's just say you progress from mile pace down the 400-meter pace. Okay, another good kind of drop down workout, and it'll give us a good idea of how well you're recovering after the time trial. And again, let's just say the time trial is Friday. This workout should be the following Friday. So you have a week from this time trial, right? If the workout's Tuesday, then it gives you a week. But this is the whole point. The line here, okay, is Tuesday, Friday. Okay, and these workouts can be applied to the same group here as well. Meaning, again, you can do these workouts Tuesday and Friday. Okay, you can add what you like to these workouts as well. So this is weeks 1 through 5 for the 400 meter group. Now let's go through weeks 6 through 10. Again, if you have questions along the way, put them in the comments. Now we progress to a tempo and we move the hills from 100 meters to 150 meters. So if you did 6 times 100 up hills, we're going to try to do 6 times 150 today. The same, walk down, jog, recover. You take as much rest. You take a couple extra minutes on the bottom again to make sure that you're going to be running with good form and attacking these hills effectively. You're working on, again, pumping the arms, high knee lift, upright body, right? And cresting the top, and then slow down, recover, and back up when you're ready. Take 4 to 5 minutes after the tempo, as always. Okay, 800 meter group, tempo. Oh, excuse me, the Friday workout. The Friday workout. And again, for 800 meter group 2, you run the same workout tempo in the hills. Friday's workout is the same tempo, 4 to 5 minute recovery. Now we're going to do 2 sets of 4 by 200 instead of 2 sets of 3. We're going to add 2 reps to the workout. It's the same way we did in week 1. Now we're going to do in week 6. We're just going to add 2 reps to it. Okay. 2 minutes recovery after each rep, 4 minutes in between a set. And it's up to you to decide what paces the athletes run at. But I try to get my folks in the 400, 800 meter group, whether they're 400 or 800 meter specialized, to kind of be in line with these paces. The workouts are not that high in volume, so they should be able to be consistent with the pace that they run for the workout. Should be in line with each other. That's week 6. Week 7, do tempo, and then we go back to 150s. We add a rep to the 150s we did. So if you did 5 times 150 last time, you do 6 today. That's Tuesday's workout. Walk back recovery. Workout 2 on Friday, you do the same tempo, same recovery. Then you do 2 sets of 3 by 400. Okay, we're going from 2 sets of 2 by 400 in week 2 to 2 sets of 3 by 400 in week 7. Adding volume. 3 minute recovery after each rep, 6 minutes in between the sets. So the whole volume, the whole workout itself is 1.5 miles worth of volume. And again, 400 meter runners need 800 meter strength. 800 meter runners need 400 meter speed. That's why these workouts are applicable to both groups. Okay. And the recovery is sufficient enough to get them back and ready to go again together. The reps are not long enough to create a massive gap with your athletes. So the people aren't 100 meters behind people and so on and so forth. Right. It's one of the reasons why the reps are shorter. It's one reason why we do them after a tempo. So the aerobic fitness can be added in the tempo rep in the beginning. And then we can get a little bit more race specific with the workout at the end. Okay. Then week 8, speed endurance 200s. Okay. 400 meter, the 400 meter specialized group, 2 minute recovery, 800 meter specialized group, 90-second recovery. Add 2 reps than you did last time. So if you did 6 last time, you do 8 now. If you did 8 last time, you do 10. It's really up to you to decide whether your athletes are ready. If you can't add 2, you can add 1, then you add 1. If you need to repeat the workout like you did last time, you want to make sure your athletes recover better, then you do that too. This is where coaching with the eye comes into play. Okay, this is a workout you can do together. Okay, obviously the workout there, the recovery is a little bit different, but it's the same workout for both groups. And you can do it on Tuesday and Friday if you'd like, but you don't necessarily have to. You can add something else as you see fit as the Tuesday or Friday session. It really is up to you to decide. This is a universal workout for both groups. Then we go back to the time trial again. Can we add 100 meters? Okay, can we go from 250 to 350 meters now at goal 400 meter pace? Can we go from 500 for the 400 meter group? Can we go from 500 meters to 600 meters at goal 800 meter pace for the 800 meter group? Right? And you can do an 8 to 10 minute recovery after the time trial, and then you can add stuff if you like. Add whatever you like. Okay. Even if you want to flush out the legs with some threshold stuff, you can do that. That's fine. Okay. That's week 9. And then week 10, okay, is 8, 6, 4, 3, 800, 600, 400, 300 for the 400 meter group or an 800 meter group. This is a good workout to do together. 3 minute recovery after each rep. Okay, it also gives us a good idea of how strong the 400 meter specialized runners are. Can they recover well? Can they run the 600 faster than the 800 pace? Can they run the 400 at faster pace than the 600? Can they run the 3 at a faster pace than the 400? Gives you a good idea how well their fitness is progressing. It'll also give you a good idea of what you might need to add if they're not, right? You can do a tempo in the beginning to elevate the heart rate as well before the workout starts. And then the Friday workout is 6 times 400 with a 3 minute recovery. You get as close to 800 meter pace as you can. And there you go. That's your 10-week breakdown for 400 and 800 meter group. Okay. Again, you modify it as you see fit. Depends on what athletes that you're working with, athletes that you're coaching, right? If anybody has any questions, put them in the comments now before I wrap it up. I appreciate y'all for the questions that you've already asked as well. Hopefully you find this stuff helpful. Got an entry into half marathon in 5 weeks in Cambridge. Theo, what's happening, man? Then training for goal 5K a week after the half marathon. Any workouts for half marathon to build on speed build. Is a week taper. It's not really a taper. It's how well you recover after the half marathon before your 5K. I wouldn't do that much of a taper. I would start tapering probably 2 weeks before the half marathon. So let's just say you're running 50 miles a week now. I would drop it down to 40 for the 2 weeks heading into the half marathon, and then do another week of 40 heading into the 5K. Give you a 3-week moderate taper instead of a 1-week drastic taper. That will make it easier to recover from the half marathon and run into the 5K the week after. Okay? Because your legs are going to be already somewhat recovered heading into the half marathon, right? If your legs are fatigued going into the half marathon, it's going to be harder to recover a week going from half to the 5K. But moving forward, that's a tough proposition to go from half marathon to 5K as well. Just be careful of that. I would do the 5K before the half marathon if you could moving forward. Just test your leg speed and see how well you can transition into the half afterward. But I've seen a lot of folks do this too. It's that's what my recommendation I would do. I would just draw whatever your mileage is, I would just drop it by 20% and stay there for the 3 weeks heading into the half, into the 5K. Okay. Greetings to UK as well. Shout out to the United Kingdom. Shout out to everybody in here. I get people from New Zealand, Australia. Shout out to all of you. Wherever you're at, shout out to all of you. Multi-Candy, does it make sense? Okay, I want to make sure that people have an understanding of what the layout of the workouts and why we did it that way. It allows you to kind of eyeball and track the progression, right? Going from piece by piece to the whole, piece by piece to the whole, right? It makes it easier to document and write stuff down. You can go back and look and say, look, my athletes win their best races during this period. These are the workouts that they did during that period. So now you know what worked. Now you know what you need to tweak and enhance, right? Gives you a good idea. This is why coaching with the eye is so important. Taking notes is so important. Right? Good, man. And they're all race specific. They're not, overly hitting volume. Like distance runners don't need to do long workouts all the time. Middle distance runners don't always need to be short, fast, hard workouts all the time. Right? They need a balance of two. And if you're training both systems on a consistent basis, that's good. Like I say this a lot for my 400 meter runners. Okay. When do you need to tap into the aerobic side of your fitness? 300 meters into the race, right? Into the 400, when your legs are tying up, you're going anaerobic, right? You're going lactic. At that point, you want to have enough collective aerobic fitness to slow down less than everybody else, right? And this is where that collective accumulation of fitness comes into play, right? And makes it easier to what? Not go lactic as much as everybody else. And again, it's a crazy analogy, but I say this a lot. It's like baking a cake. Bake the cake first, put the icing on it later. Can't put icing on a cake you haven't baked yet. The fitness is the cake. The icing is your race sharpness, right? You put them together, you do them right, and it all will work together when you need it to work together. And if you do this on a consistent basis, then you'll be able to tap into the things you need to tap into when it counts the most. I don't care. I don't need my athletes running their best races 6 weeks before it counts. I want them running their best races when it counts, right? We've talked about this a lot too. So and you can race more in track than you can across country, but that doesn't mean I would recommend racing multiple times every week. You still have to recover. You still have to train, right? So how well are you recovering after races? Can you even tell if you're racing multiple times every week? You can't. You're hanging on for dear life. And if you look for those athletes that race that much, are they running their better races? King of the dual meets, that's right. Are they running their best races way too soon? Are they even there? Are they just stale during championship season? Right? This is where the workouts should be stretched out to allow your athletes to recover from them, right? Recovering from races into the next workout, recovering from workouts to be ready for the next race, and so on. It's not always what you do, it's when you do it and how often you do it. They're all a part of the puzzle. Like do you remember King of the Dual Meets? That's right. And especially during cross country, right? We don't need to be king of the dual meets on a Wednesday when nobody cares, right? King, run well when it counts. That's when people notice, right? That's when you get all the juice, all the love, all the recognition. My athletes are running best at championships. It's a sign of good coaching, right? Sign of aware coaching. So, but again, you make it applicable to you, you make it applicable to your athletes. Your athletes might be different than her athletes might be different than yours, and so on. So you have to work with what you have and tailor it to them. There's no such thing as a one size fits all workout. I say this a lot too. You can't expect to give everybody the same 10 times 400 workout and expect everybody to recover the same way. They can run 10 times 400 at 70. That doesn't mean everybody's ready to run 440. Okay. You can see a whole different layout of race performances. It'll tell you a lot. And people that run 440, are they going out in 216 and coming back in 224? Or are they going out in 224 and coming back in 216? How they race is important too. It gives you a lot of intel. Okay. Okay, this is my more distance folks. They're closing races stronger. Okay, but also they may not be distance, they may be just real fit. So we'll still need a long run on the weekend, correct? Assuming we're still in preseason. Yeah, a week that you're not racing is a week that you add a long run. Generally, the way I do it, again, you do it as you see fit, but if you're not racing, it's a Tuesday, Friday workout and a Saturday long run. Okay, accumulation of fitness. Okay, and if it's the long run the week before a big race, and you cut the long run back a little bit the week before. But you still want to consistently do it and build that aerobic fitness. Long runs will make workouts easier. Workouts will make long runs easier. They complement each other, right? So that's essentially how I lay it out. Tuesday, Friday workout, Saturday long run. Sunday, depending on what grade of school you're in, it's either an easy short day or an off day, right? And that's the other gradual progression as well. And I have videos on this channel that break it down, the training volume and how to kind of lay out training for every year in high school, for every year in college. Okay. Again, you as a coach, you do what you feel is most appropriate. You're the one that knows your athletes better than we do. And that's what matters the most. Right. So any final questions before we wrap this up? Again, if you have NBC available, today's the Millrose Games, a big track meet at the Armory in New York City, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. They're going to try and break the world record in the 2 mile and the mile. So there's going to be some huge races. So I don't know if you saw a 16-year-old yesterday, Sam Ruth. I don't know if he's from Australia, New Zealand. He ran a 3:48 mile. He broke the under 18 world record at Boston University at the Terrier Classic. 16 years old, he ran 3:48. That's faster than Jakob Ingebrigtsen ran at 16. So we could be seeing the next wave stud milers right now. And I'm in New Zealand, okay. That's how I figured. That's a stud. 3:48 at 16. You're a stud. I don't care where you're from. You can be from Guam. You are a beast. Okay. So, and it was a really impressive race that he ran at BU. Really impressive. So, but with that, I want to thank you all for coming on. And again, if there's anything you want me to focus on next Sunday, let me know now. For those that are in here, I want to give workouts for this, for that, or whatever you might be. I accommodate requests. And again, let me put this down here because for those that are the first time here, this is my email. I'm going to put this on screen. blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com is my email address. For those that have questions, need more specific training inside, and people email me on a regular basis. blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com is my email. Okay. For those that have questions, yes, I'm a running coach. Yes, I have a black belt in multiple arts. So, multiple martial arts. That's why it's the name. It makes it easy to remember. So, a long-time competitive runner, a long-time martial artist. So those are two of my biggest passions. So there's the email address. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining, bringing your wonderful questions. Okay, and we'll be here next Sunday. 9 a.m. Eastern time. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk about some new world records as well. But again, you feel free to email me too if you have specific requests on videos. Let me know what you'd like for me to do. Okay, otherwise, I'm going to continue rocking and rolling. We'll take it as we're going. We're kind of going towards mid-season now, right? What kind of workouts to do mid-season? We're getting into February, kind of approaching championship season, right? What do you do the last 4 to 6 weeks of the indoor season to kind of get sharp? Where are you at now? And so on and so forth. So we could put that together next weekend as well. So with that, have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe, everybody. And we'll see you all next week.